Imagine you are wearing a backpack. Inside this backpack, there is a heavy, solid stone block. On the side of the stone, chiseled deep into the rock, is a number. $50,000. This is your debt. You carry it everywhere. When you go to work, it weighs you down. When you try to sleep, it's there in the corner of the room. It feels permanent. It feels like a punishment for a decision you made years ago. You assume that the only way to get rid of this weight is to chip away at it dollar by dollar, sweating and struggling until the stone is gone. But there is another way the stone disappears. A way that feels almost like magic, or perhaps like a cheat code. Imagine you stop chipping at the stone. You just stand there, you wait. 5 years pass. 10 years pass. You look at the stone. The number is still there, $50,000. But when you lift the backpack, something is wrong. It feels light. It feels like styrofoam. You lift it with one finger. The number didn't change. But the weight did. This is the most counterintuitive secret in finance. We are taught that debt is a fixed burden. But in an economy designed to inflate, debt is actually a melting ice cube. And understanding why this happens explains why the rich often love debt, while the poor are crushed by it. Let's break down the mechanics of this magic trick. When you borrow money, let's say for a house or a student loan, you are freezing time. You and the bank agree on a number. That number is locked in a cage. It is immune to the future. If you borrow $10,000 today, you owe $10,000 in 20 years. But the money itself, the paper bills, the digits in the bank is not frozen. It is fluid. It is constantly being diluted. Think of money as a ruler used to measure value. Today, the ruler is 12 inches long. But the central banks and the economy are constantly shrinking the ruler. Next year, the ruler is 11 inches. The year after, it's 10. Now apply this to your debt. You borrowed 10,000 units of value, but you are paying it back years later with units that are significantly smaller. You borrowed a steak dinner, but you are paying back a cheeseburger. The bank gets the same number of dollars back, but they can buy far less with them. Effectively, inflation is paying your debt for you. Let's watch this play out in the life of a stick figure named Sam. Sam buys a house in the 1980s. The mortgage is huge, it terrifies him. The monthly payment takes up half his paycheck. He eats noodles for dinner. He worries about losing his job, but Sam holds on. He doesn't pay the debt off early. He just pays the minimum. 30 years go by. Sam is now an old man. He still has that same mortgage payment. But now the price of a coffee has tripled. The price of a car has quadrupled. And critically, Sam's paycheck, even if he was just an average worker, has tripled just to keep up with the cost of living. Sam looks at his mortgage bill. The number hasn't changed since the 80s. What used to be half his paycheck is now the price of a nice dinner out. The debt didn't shrink numerically, but it shrank in relevance. It became a rounding error in his budget. Sam didn't defeat the debt. The eroding currency defeated it for him. Now this sounds great for the borrower, but there is a dark side. A very dark side. Because every dollar of value that vanished from Sam's debt had to come from somewhere. Value doesn't just disappear, it transfers. So who paid for Sam's house? The saver did. Imagine Sam's neighbor, Dave. Dave didn't like debt. Dave was responsible. He took his extra money in the 1980s and put it in a safe under his floorboards. He felt secure. He slept well. 30 years later, Dave opens the safe. The money is there. But when he tries to spend it, he finds he can buy almost nothing. The wealth he stored was transferred, invisibly, to subsidize Sam's debt. This is why the current system quietly punishes savers and rewards debtors. It feels morally backward. We are told to save, but the system is designed to erode savings. We are told to avoid debt, but the system is designed to dilute debt. And the biggest borrower of all knows this better than anyone. Governments today hold massive unpayable amounts of debt. If they had to pay it back with real, hard money, they couldn't. It would break the system. So they have a silent partner, inflation. By allowing the currency to lose value, the government's own mountain of debt gets lighter. They pay back their bonds with cheaper, printed money. They are essentially doing what Sam did, waiting for the ruler to shrink so the debt looks smaller. But here's the trap for the average person. This strategy of inflating away debt only works if one specific thing happens. Your income must go up. If prices rise and the cost of milk and gas skyrockets, but your wages stay flat, the magic trick fails. The debt stays heavy, but your life gets more expensive. You get squeezed from both sides. This is the reality for many people today. They are waiting for the relief of inflation, but they are only feeling the pain of prices. So you have to ask yourself a difficult question. You are standing on a playing field that is tilted. The money in your pocket is like an ice cube melting in the sun. The debt on your ledger is also ice, melting at the same speed. Are you the person trying to store the ice, frantically protecting it with your hands? Or are you the person who borrowed the ice, knowing that by the time you have to give it back, it will be nothing but a puddle?